Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Ringru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, today on Slutsk East, we're continuing our coverage over here of Herr Robert's monthly tournament. Again, this is the close combat, so while I'd love to kind of prattle on more, Rang, who do we have and what are they bringing?
Left-hand side in the blue, we have ArturoDiaz playing 16th Panzer with a balanced income. Right-hand side in the red, we have DarkNeutron playing, what's this one again? It's 44th Guards Infantry with a Maverick income.
So guys, you might notice already, it's the standard kind of, I say standard, it's the new standard of basically balanced V Maverick here. And I said to Ranks before we went live, I'm a little bit nervous about the artillery, and you said what about the Germans?
Well, they don't have much ground artillery, but they do have the area artillery for the Focke-Wulfs, and DarkNeutron has the off-map artillery, which is about to blow everything up. That's a very well-timed.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like that's kind of been the standard that we see over here, is that in this particular position, to secure this hillside, you almost need to go and throw down some sort of crazy concentration of force immediately, and we're seeing that.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like a semi-bridge fight, because you choke point the enemy on that little part of the hill, you bait them in, blow them up, and bugger them off.
And it's you know, in the past, having buggery would land you right in the pillories, but we're seeing right now, wow, I'm kind of curious, I was seeing this MG42, I was really concerned about the 233 here, because I had the guard squad moving directly into it. But I forgot that there is, in fact, first of all, a 233 to the south of the bridge, and also the MG42 to pin down any infantry coming through. And as we can see right now, for the most part, things are very, very red, as Otomochiki and the PTRS are owning a huge chunk of the north, but the fight's going to be in the south, where it always seems to be on this map.
Yeah, it always comes, I mean, you see it time and time again, it's always trying to fight over this hill, and usually for the person on the left-hand side, they usually get the short end of the stick. It really seems like most time recast this, the person on the right always wins. I don't know, I honestly would say the right side of this map would have map advantage just due to having that hill in the center.
Mm-hmm.
But if ArturoDiaz can actually push on up through, he still has a lot of his armored assets alive, he could potentially turn the tide.
And you know, I think he's helped by the fact that he is playing the 16th Panzer. I said to you before we went live as well that I love seeing the heavy recon. And when I say heavy recon, yes, I'm aware of the fact that PTRDs can still kill, as you can see right there. And of course, there's not going to be that much help in a straight-up armor v armor kind of fight. But instead of having, you know, wimpy flesh bags walking point, we actually have some slightly less wimpy metal bags. And they're not going to last very long, I'll grant you that. But it is still fun to see them all the same.
Yeah, it's usually quite funny too, because 16 Panzer is really... It's really the only type of division you see in the 10v10 lobby, so seeing them in 1v1 is interesting. And even though they are the, you know, the King Tiger division, this is actually a pretty good map to be the King Tiger division. You slap one of those bad boys up north and, well, just as long as you don't get blown up by aircraft, you're pretty much invincible.
And that's kind of interesting, because if you look at the aircraft over here for, you know, the Rodina, we do see just basically a couple of Yaks and the TUs.
Yeah.
And oof, there is not much down here in the south. I was to say, and the TUs don't exactly have the right bomb loads for it. We're not seeing any kind of cluster play. We're not seeing something like that. What we are seeing is we're seeing just a lot of ground attack, kind of light bombing runs. And I say light, kind of in air quotes there.
Yeah. Yeah, it just required quite a few bombing strikes to kill the King Tiger if that does end up being the case. But so far, DarkNeutron's doing a very good job of holding the hill. I mean, he's pretty much killed the entire Sotia from ArturoDiaz, and yeah, I think Diaz's best bet would be to really just play up north, use that long-range, heavy armor to your advantage, and he really has to pick up those two flags up north. That's a little bit ridiculous. He's taken a pretty big points bleed.
Yeah, but I think that's why we have this guerrilla coming on in. I would have liked it to have seen the 233 to the north. You see the top of my screen, I'm not sure where they are over on your side. Have a little bit more of an active presence there.
Yeah,
Focke-Wulf, another Focke-Wulf coming into the south. Actually, might be the same ones before. And
oh,
man, I think he bombed him before, so I think he's just getting the HP kill now.
Yeah, not bad at all. Definitely a raw kill, but of course, I mean, this is 44th Guard. They have many more T-34s, mainly T-35s, in this case, to back him up. We're seeing one of them already being brought in up north.
And I guess as the first bit of Russian airplanes coming on in, yep, okay. For the record, I say light bombing strikes, I just mean like not going to give you that 1,000 kilogram kind of bomb. This is not the Tsar Bomba of ground attack planes, this is the 500 kilo ones, as you can see here.
Just an average bomb loadout. A respectable one, to say the least.
And I know how sarcastic that sounds to say, both on your part and my part, to say light bomb load. But when you do see that insane kind of miniature nuke, you just can't help but feel like everything else after that just becomes rather superfluous, really.
Yeah, I'm still used to the standard of, like, early Wargame Red Dragon, where you had the F-Run 111 Australian aardvark with 8,000 kilograms worth of bombs.
And meanwhile, I'm just used to the idea of a Davy Crockett being fired at the front lines. But so, you know, we all have our crosses to bear.
I think a Davy Crockett would be very useful in ArturoDiaz's case right now. He is getting hammered trying to go up his hill. He's bringing a lot of armored assets here, which aren't really going to be rough rollers. T-34-76 is a bloody deadly at CQC. And those Panzer Grenadiers are just going to get minced up at close range against SMGs.
Yes, they are. And not for nothing. But the right play here, in my humble opinion, is just continue to play the air. Yes, we do see a 37 mil on the back lines. He's coming on in. But the Focke-Wulf, I'm not going to say is unable to be stopped by a single one. But when you're bombing with, you know, a few hundred kilograms of bombs, not a big deal. I'm happy to waste a run or two if that means I'm going to go and have some crazy, crazy play.
Well, finally seeing ArturoDiaz actually play a bit more aggressive up north. He's got some armored assets up there, even bringing in a regular old Tiger, and actually got a kill on that T-30-45, so I think if he gets a few more infantry assets, he could actually start taking some pretty valuable ground here up north.
Absolutely, and I think what you said before is 100% accurate. Even having a P4 in that area, again, guys, that is a hefty range issue to kind of fight through. Good luck having that happen. Wait, was the T-33 the thing that killed the T-34's crew?
I don't know.
It might be the P4. Last barrage, by the way, going down to the south. Understandable. The 152 really starts to lose its utility if your opponent doesn't have a lot of assets in the area. And plus, too, I mean, the 152s to go later and later, I feel like the targets have become a lot less price efficient, if you catch my drift, you know?
Yeah. It's just, he's managed to wear down ArturoDiaz so well. Yeah, I think it's just to finish him off and just to make sure there's nothing on the bottom end of that hill. We're seeing quite a bit of air power here from ArturoDiaz, bringing in two Focke-Wulfs to, well, try and fuck the enemy.
Yeah, and I think they are going to kind of plow right on through the center of that position as well. Another ground attack coming in the Yak 3. Ooh, no, he turned away at the last second, so this is going to be a problem. We might see a dead Focke-Wulf here. We might.
Yep. Yeah, turn radius. Good God.
Jeez.
That was a sexy intercept.
It looks like a freaking dancer. Of course, the German response not in time here. But that's okay, because while he has sacrificed a single plane to the south, the armor push beginneth in the north.
Indeedeth. And he's actually going to be able to capture... If he can capture the flag where the 233 is, and then a little farm complex where the other 233 is, I'd give him that +1 point advantage. But he needs infantry. He needs that to take ground. He can't just push with armor by itself.
One thing I'm actually kind of surprised by is that his barbecuing or his grilling down here hasn't quite got the support from a logistics perspective, I suppose, you know?
I think what you mean to say is that you're surprised that it managed to live long enough to actually run out of ammunition.
You know, I was thinking more from the kind of optimistic standpoint, with the cynical, and I appreciate that, because usually the shoe's on the other foot there. Not gonna get the TU-2S in time, but I think there is gonna be more than enough time for an intercept on this one.
Yeah.
Even that smoking Focke-Wulf is gonna be enough to take him out. No, Yak 3.
Yak attack.
That's okay. I'll sack to take out that Focke-Wulf, but not yet. That was.
God damn.
Jeez. That was a silly loss.
Yeah, it was. That was an Arturo. I mean, fortunately for him, he does actually have quite a few Well, he only has 2 fighter cards, but still that's pretty decent. He doesn't have a whole lot of ground-based AA. I mean, 16th Panzer is not well known for that, so he needs to be somewhat careful of his air power, because that's going to be pretty important, because like I said, doesn't have any artillery, he's going to need to use air artillery to be his artillery.
Yeah, but there's getting to be enough ADA down south that bombing runs in the south anyway are going to become a bigger and bigger liability. Now, we know from our God vision of decks and all things tactical that there is only going to be 2 AA positions until now. In fact, it's definitely an opportunity to really just push the northern approaches here. So, going to be a bit of a hassle, but it is 12-12. So I suppose I can't be too harsh, even as another armored vehicle goes down to the south, a stroke 3 this time.
Yeah, Arturo's not in a terrible position. I mean, of course, it's now B phase, so DarkNeutron's Maverick income is going to come in pretty nice. But if he can keep up his 12-12 and continue his aggressive maneuvering up north, don't lose that Tiger tank for the love of God, I think Arturo could actually pull this through. He just needs to play for time.
And that's always the killer, isn't it? Is that you wait for time, you want some beautiful thing to occur here, and then your opponent does something like this in the south. 2 guard squads, 2 Su-76s to help push that front line. All these guys are going to the south, aren't they? No, actually, we're getting only a couple to the south. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, it's definitely a weak underbelly of Arturo's line. Like, if DarkNeutron was to push heavy down south, he could... I think, well, he can only really capture 1 flag reasonably down south. But that'd be enough to at least throw off Diaz elsewhere.
Well, and that was what I was going to follow up with, is that you're looking at the northern side, you cannot stand up to that. I mean, forget the Admiral Akbar jokes. You really cannot reject that kind of firepower on the front lines. But if you swing around south, you push the town, and this is not the same kind of grindy towns we're so used to seeing. You can pick up 1 flag, you can threaten to go north, swing to cut off that bridge as well as the one behind it. If you really want to be super gutsy, go to the west, but now there's a Tiger coming in. Yeah. So good freaking luck being aggressive now.
Yeah, unless you can get a good flanking shot on that Tiger or get up close and personal, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of infantry and support weaponry, to be fair, and another off-map artillery, so maybe he can just high explosive his way to victory, which is a very valid strategy in Steel Division 2. One I quite like.
You said, and there's another one, and I didn't quite realize what you had meant, but you're right, there's another 152 coming on in. I do like the fact that we see a smoke beacon dropped over here on top of the ZIS-3s and the M42s. Those 2 guys are going to be more than enough to kind of retard a lot of progress. Unfortunately, this guard squad is not going to be quite as lucky as those anti-tank positions in the trees.
Yeah, and Arturo is now getting that +1 point advantage. He has pretty much uncontested control in the north up now. There's a T-3045 being brought in, which could potentially kill the Tiger. It's unvetted, of course, but I do give the advantage to the Tiger.
1 whole T-3485. Sorry.
I mean, you need at least, like, what, 5 to 7 for the exchange rate, I believe. I'm more familiar with Shermans to Tigers with my exchange rate, to be honest.
Well, the first thing is you have to actually transfer first from a 34 into the American dollar. So it's the ruble to dollar, and then you have to do the whole kind of left pocket, right pocket into the Deutschmark at this point. Yowza. The 152 in the town. See, this is the opportunity then.
Yeah, there you go, and that's a bunch of infantry, and... Okay, yeah, I don't think that Tiger's really going to be able to do too much down south. He needs infantry, and, well, he's bringing that in, but mainly more 2-3-1, which... Well, they could actually perform pretty well in the town.
Yeah, I suppose you could. The autocannons have been more than enough. If the Tiger takes out the T-34, which he should be able to do, then things are going to go horribly for the Russians. Not quite as much that 233 can actually put a shot online, but hey,
Tigers just blasting away. Get some good long-range shots on tanks on the hill, so that's something at least, but... I mean, this is going pretty well here for DarkNeutron. If he flips that flag down south, we'll be getting that +1, but... Well, actually, he kind of needs a +2, I think, at this point, if he wants a safe victory. I mean, he
Yes.
could just get a plus run and then try to hold until relieved till like the 30-minute mark or something. But that can be a bit of a risky strategy, especially against balanced income Panzer division.
Now we are going to see a Resurgent push over here back on the hillside. You can see cheeky bombing run snuck in, pulled out a tank with this on Niki, and there's the kickoff. I'm not sure. I mean, this is like a Blood Bowl kickoff, so expect to see some bodies here. But they're gonna hit the front lines at least.
Yeah, he's pushing hard and he's gonna be pushing pretty fast here.
There's a 14-10 as well, so taking 2 flags, boom, boom, right after each other. Very helpful to have those light machine guns on the 251s. Unfortunately, not quite the most durable of things. You can see right there what tends to happen to them very, very quickly.
Yeah, those guard DPs are scary, and not so much for the DPs, more for the PTRDs.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And
down to the south as well, we do see those autocannon 231s kind of plying their trade. Biggest downfall of these guys is that their 20 mil ammunition gets used so freaking quickly.
Yeah. But usually they die before that happens, to be fair.
Yeah, but that really shouldn't be your long-term logistics train is, you know what, we don't need to supply them in the first place. They'll be dead by the time they're done with it. Another TU2 coming on in. I think he's probably aiming for, he's aiming for that attempted breakout. He's going to hit his own troops, but it still ain't going to be pretty.
Yeah, if Arturo can actually make a good push up in the hill here and actually get past that initial choke point town area, you'd be in a good position, because really it's just that choke point which is hard. Once you get more into the base of the hill, it becomes much more an even fight.
No, Focke-Wulf in the north. This is one of those rocket ones. Oh, he's making a nice wide run. He's going for the deflection shot. Unfortunately,
I like that a lot.
The 85 is going to go and just reset itself. I think to actually engage that Tiger technically. The rockets are up and doesn't kill. Does not kill.
Also avoided the anti-air fire by hooking up north.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to mention too, is that, the 37 mils brought down another one of the intercepting Focke-Wulfs. So while the air power has certainly been evident, I don't know it's necessarily been the most efficient.
Yeah. It's been quite a lot of air power from the Soviet side, but Arturo is still being able to bring in those rocket planes and do damage. And hey, there's even more Yaks. It's a whole lot of Yak attack.
Well, Yaks herd together. I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie. Right? It's the mighty Yaks.
I've never seen it.
Well, yeah, they enter a drinking competition. It's kind of like Beer Fest, but with vodka.
Oh.
Yeah, and the Yaks herd together. So they're all hairy guys. They're all like the giant beasts. And this joke has really played itself out about 30 seconds ago. So we're gonna get back to the game.
Yeah, things have definitely started to slow down a bit with Arturo's push. He hasn't managed to really get off that choke point, and he's paying for it by getting hit by a bunch of artillery, but he has tanks. He has lots and lots and lots and lots of tanks. Or actually not that many. I mean, he has lots of Tigers and C-Phase, but not a whole lot of mediums. And still no King Tiger. We better see a King Tiger by the end of this match, or I'm going to be very upset, ArturoDiaz. I'm speaking to you personally.
Wait. Come again? I lost it in all the Canadianness of that particular response.
Oh, I just want to see goddamn King Tigers.
Yeah, but like,
I'm going to be very mad.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It better happen, though.
I would love to see it. Truly I would. I don't think it's going to. We are having this Tiger. It should be able... No, he can't see that. Line of sight's killing him.
The one down south?
Yeah. Like, this is a target-rich environment. There we go. This is a Villa Bocage opportunities right here. Nope, never mind.
Yeah.
We should come in pretty much near the last one of these artillery strikes, though, too, shouldn't we?
There's quite a lot of off-map artillery dropped here from DarkNeutron. I don't know how much he has left. It feels like he's... Yeah, he only has 3 off-maps in his deck, and I feel like he's called all of them out. So probably just 1 or 2 strikes left.
Yeah, he's pretty close to being tapped.
Yeah.
I have kind of enjoyed the fact... Yikes. I have enjoyed the fact that we've started to see very, very intentional flight plans from all of the aircraft. You see right now that, especially for the Germans, desperate to avoid those 37 mils to the south, flying these kind of dog-leg routes. It's really kind of cool. It's not just like that, like, oh, we're just going to call in one direction, we're set to go from there.
I do quite like that micro quite a bit. But DarkNeutron has managed to pull it back. He's got a 15-9, getting that, well, okay, 14-10 now. But re-entered into C phase, and this is where Maverick starts to dwindle quite a bit, because they got pretty much half income compared to balance.
Yeah, and therein, as the Bard would say, lies the rub. Especially when your rub comes with a lot of strokes, a lot of P4s, and like you said, the potential to have a Königstiger.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. The Königstiger is 290 points.
And that's why I was pretty sure we're never going to see it. That's a pants-sweating moment. That's a meme play at this point.
Yeah, I believe they upped it to that price because of 10v10s, if I recall. Because that's, like, considering you can get 2 tigers for 1 king tiger. You know, I guess that makes sense, because 2 tiger runs make up 1 tiger 2.
Even in terms of raw weight, because that I would totally believe.
Yeah. And numbers.
True.
If you get 4 of them together, you get a tiger 4.
And if you use a moonstone, it becomes...
Your tiger is woven into a mouse.
There we go. I was trying to think what it was. Like, what can go in here? Meanwhile, the Faka wolves have been dying consistently. Like that's one of the rocket ones going down, and not really getting a lot of value for their costs.
No, you're quite right in that regard. We're seeing more of map artillery from DarkNeutron. Not going to be hitting a whole lot yet, just trying to keep him off the hill. And Arturo making a counter-attack into the southern town, using the 2-3 runs with great effect to knock out the Su-76s. Or attempt to knock them out.
You know, what's the old line from Winston Churchill? Failure is not final, it's the... What is it? Something the courage to continue that counts?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, the 16th
Sounds like
Panzer,
a very Churchill line.
The 16th Panzer must be very courageous. Because, geez, these guys have been dying in droves. I feel like there's been... I'm sure I'm incorrect, but it feels like the deaths have been so much more profligate on the German side as it has been from the 44th side of things.
Yeah, and the tank losses are much more expensive as well.
True.
Compared to just like T-34 76s and Guard DB spam.
I think we also got the... we are out of artillery move by the 152s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find it funny when people just rush up the 152s, like in the suicide move. I mean, I get it because it's worthless, but guys, don't you care about your KD ratios? Rush out to, like, the back of your base so you don't give your opponent a 350-point scoreboard kill at the end.
Exactly.
It's all about the KD ratio.
Yo, you gotta watch your numbers, man. It's just that's kind of how it is in general.
Yeah.
And think about it. We're going into winter. I know you want to put on a little bit of extra weight for your KD, so this is that time. Summer's when you slim down. That's when you go and you drop the KD as much as you can.
Play hard.
Exactly.
Up north, we're seeing a T-34 do a bit of a suicide rush here, gonna run in between a rock and a hard place.
Of course, when your opponent is shooting like that, though. There we go.
He shouldn't have been able to get that far.
No, he shouldn't, but...
He did.
Yes, very true.
But yeah, I mean, time is on our trio's side, but he is still losing by a +1, but 16 minutes, by that time, DarkNeutron will be out of units.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say, oh no, okay, DarkNeutron does have a C-phase card, to be fair, of infantry.
Yes.
Which is always, you need to hedge your bets and always take one C-phase rifleman card. But apart from that, it's all just B-phase.
Well, that was the thing, a C-phase card.
Yeah.
And the TU... Actually, I feel like the TUs might have been his ace in the hole, so to speak. Because we have 6 of them as a potential, and you can see right here, if they're able to be utilized and kept alive, and that's always the hardest part, contrary to what people say about it being the waiting, I don't know if the Focke-Wulfs have been efficient enough in taking out their Russian counterparts.
No, they've actually... Yeah, he's actually been able to keep a lot of his airplanes alive from DarkNeutron's side. And he doesn't have a whole lot of TU2, so it definitely working out quite well for him. I think it's the anti-air down south, which is definitely giving him that good protection.
Oh, absolutely. I would like to see this Tiger be a little bit more aggressively placed. I can understand why he's not, but I find it to be a little bit underutilized there.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of like the blocking detachment.
Yeah, but usually you don't have to play a blocking detachment for your, side armored fighting vehicles. Usually that's that's what they invented death. Like, you don't, whatever. It is 13-11 though, favorite DarkNeutron. ArturoDiaz is certainly on his back foot for half a second here, but we are seeing more and more light vehicles being thrown to the fore. I mean, geez, we have the Recon P4s can get called in now.
Yeah.
And couple of the 231s.
Pretty big C-phase card.
And we overlook that often because, again, like we've always talked about, Recon just doesn't get a lot of love. But the 16th Panzer has heavy Recon in spades.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that their opponents usually need spades because they're going to be using them to go 6 feet under to hide from them. And you can
reconnaissance optics and tanks are quite nice because you can spot and shoot without all and run. Not the best reconnaissance, but I mean, when your reconnaissance has a 75mm cannon, I don't think you can complain too much.
I believe that's what the men in the business and the women in the business call it, reconnaissance in force.
Yes.
But yes. We are seeing up to the north that the middle of the territory is going to go back into German hands, and Hans is going to get more hands on the next flag to the northeast of that as well, I'd imagine, pretty quickly. Yeah. And it is 13-11, yes, sir.
If he can just do like a good mechanized push up north here, he can cap out northern town. But yeah, those 2-5-1s are going to rush right up and just get anti-tank rifled.
And you know what? I think the important thing here is he now knows that there are troops in that town.
Yep. And he's going to try and blow them up. Oh,
and DarkNeutron, eager to save his troops, does tap out.
Yep, makes sense. He probably was not going to get the victory. He needed to bleed Arturo's much harder earlier on to have a chance.
But there we have it. We have ourselves an end of the game here. And again, KD, like I kind of anticipated, it is a lot closer than it seemed, but I think a lot of those kills probably happened a little bit closer to the end here as well.
Yeah, if we're looking at the kills, nothing really exciting apart from he's like a half face.
Does that make him like he's a Batman villain now?
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool Batman villain name, half face.
Well, I feel like that's... First he was Two-Face's like lesser known cousin. Then he became the guy who's like Condiment King's sidekick.
Yeah. The villain half-ass sets up his booby traps, but they always like break or fail because it's just like set up half-ass.
Oh man, he gets it from like Acme.
Yeah.
Looking from the German side though, again, not a lot of really big, kind of shiny, really well done troops. Very respectable on both sides. Again, it's just the idea that as the 44th, you had to bleed the 16th Panzer a lot more than you did.
Yeah, just a classic Maverick versus balanced income matchup. If you don't bleed him hard early, you're gonna bleed yourself out later on.
Exactly. It's like you need leeches to get out all the bad blood. You need, more anti-tank to get rid of all the bad anti-tank vehicles, tanky vehicles. So
Exactly.
Yes. But with those words of wisdom, any final thoughts about today's game?
No.
Well, folks, I think we've tapped our wellspring of wisdom for today. Until Thursday, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.